evening, everyone. I'm Frank Novak, and this is Point of Reference. Tonight, we give you a brief introduction to each candidate running for office in the city of Haverhill, incumbent as well as newcomer, in an effort for you to get to know them a little better and help you decide who to vote for on Election Day, November 7th. We're very proud that almost 100% of the candidates took us up on our invitation to help you become a more informed voter. Hi everybody, we're back with Melinda Barrett, who's finishing her second term as a Haverhill City Councilor and running for re-election for her third term. Welcome to the program, Melinda.
Thank you, Frank. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. If you could tell me, based upon what your experience has been in the first two terms, can you give me an indication, are there any different dynamics that you foresee in the upcoming next term as a city councilor that you haven't seen or experienced in the first couple of terms?
Who knows who's going to be on the council come next term, but I think in this last two-year cycle, I think the council has found some footing or a voice. Not that we all agree on everything all the time, but it seems like, especially when it came to the police and the budget, and we had a little, a head-to-head with the mayor about staffing, and it seemed like divergent people came together and we decided that we were going to make a stand for the push for more police officers. And we were able to add 3 from his initial budget. So not enough, I don't think, but it was unique in that we all kind of took a stand on that and kind of forced something that hadn't really happened in my previous 3 years on the council.
Well, having to do with public safety, there's always room for more given the fact that Haverhill's doing, I guess, yeoman's duty relative to public safety, and that I guess we're supposed to have minimally, statistically, according to FBI records, about 30% more in officers.
I think about 145 for a community our size.
We have just about 100 or under, no?
We have under, probably. Oh. We might be budgeted to 101 or 2, but I don't think we've reached that level yet. It takes about 9 months for an office to come on once you are able to hire them.
Do you think or do you feel there being any additional momentum in the downtown resurgence in the city of Haverhill relative to Harbor Place, which is where we're broadcasting from right now?
Which is lovely, a lovely facility.
And and because you're in downtown Haverhill as well, you're about a stone's throw from Harbor Place right now. Do you sense or feel any sort of dynamic of resurgence of additional development, and what do you think that will bring, positive or negative?
This was kind of a public-private partnership that put this on the map. And I think there's private development happening a little further down Merrimack Street. Mm-hmm. And if, Sal Poli's building comes to pass, and there's a lot across the street that the Newmans used to own, that I think may be developed also soon. That is private money too. I think then I'll, really feel a resurgence in the Merrimack Street side of downtown.
Because that'll be a little bit of a change, because that's happening on the Merrimack Street side of town, whereas before it was in the historical district from Post Office Square up to the railroad bridge.
And honestly, probably, and I've been downtown 30 plus years, and my family's been down there longer, but in the last 10, before Harbor Place started, it was kind of, we were on a kind of a downward cycle as far as just that we had always been busy on Merrimack Street side with businesses, banks, office space, and it kind of slowly declined. So we had always been busier during the day on Merrimack Street side, where Washington Street side was quiet during the day, very busy at night. Mm-hmm. Now, over the last 10 years, we had cycled down a little too during the day. We had maybe a 6-hour economy, whereas you want an 18-hour economy. So I think with this development, we'll be able to kind of edge back up.
That is fascinating, because you would have a handle on that being right in the mix of things.
Yeah.
And given the fact that in this building of Harbor Place with the University of Massachusetts, second and third floor, they're expecting something like 200, 240 students. the draw from that ought to be very helpful overall.
I would hope so. We haven't really seen it yet because ULOL right now, they're still finishing up their floors. Mm-hmm. They have some night classes going on. I mean, with maybe
Right.
30 or,
Yeah.
you know, so it hasn't really made an impact yet. It's kind of like the promised land. It's just down the road a little more, and then you get down the road and the rainbow's moved a little, so you have to keep moving.
Let me ask you this question. From a standpoint of Haverhill and what it is, you can't do this solely on your own, but you're part of the mix being on the city council right now, and if you're reelected, you will still be a part of that mix. And the question I've got for you is that oftentimes people are looking at Haverhill as not a final destination location, but someplace that they come to and then subsequently graduate from to go to what they think may be a better or a different community. Oftentimes, that's predicated based upon their impression of the school system.
Definitely.
Now, you don't, while you're city council and you don't happen to deal with policy of the school system, that's the domain of the school committee, you do have the purse strings of what's approved for the school department, which is the largest expenditure in the city. Having said that, given the fact that Haverhill on 351 cities and towns is about like down near the bottom of spending per pupil, whereas not too long ago we were about mid-range. You know, do you have any thoughts on that to make Haverhill a final destination location for people to come and live and want to stay?
Well, when I grew up and when you grew up here,
Yep.
people did stay, and a vast amount of people still do stay. I mean, generationally. But we do have to do much better in our schools. When we had the vote on replacing Council Bevilacqua, the reason I voted the way I did was I wanted an educator in that position on that school committee seat, because I see the need. We need improvement. We need to attract people and keep people and let them have the same experience that you and I had growing up here. You know, that we knew, you know, you go someplace, you know people because you grew up here, you
Yeah.
went to school with people.
Right.
It's a different dynamic if you're you know, just passing through.
Well, and one other final question, less than a minute to answer this, and that is that state of Massachusetts has mandated, you know, based upon with the vote recently taken relative to marijuana dispensaries. How do you feel about that? You know, because I know that originally the city doctor for students was not happy about it, the superintendent of schools was not happy about it, and neither was the police chief happy about it, but you have to follow the mandate
Right.
of the voters.
I mean, the state legislature still has a work to do as far as giving us direction on what we can and cannot do. I think the voters in Haverhill passed, the referendum passed by a majority.
Mm-hmm.
So that has to color what we do. Also, the communities around us are overwhelmingly rejecting it. So that puts us in another bind. So we really have to think this out as to where we want to place things. We have, the mayor has a committee that's looking at what to do and how to approach it. And we'll have to look at everything that comes our way. And, you know, if somebody wants a referendum, that'd be fine too.
Got to follow their lead.
Yeah.
Very well. That'll have to be the last word. Melinda Barrett, thanks very much for being here today.
Thank you, Frank.
We wish
It's
you
a
the best.
pleasure.
My pleasure. We wish you the best of luck in the November 7th election.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
We'll be back in just a moment. I hope that this program has been a point of reference for you. And until next time, my name is Frank Novak, and thanks very much for watching. And remember to vote on November 7th.